بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون. وقال الله تعالى في حديث قدسي من عاد لي وليا فقد آذنته بالحرب أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد وبارك وسلم. One of the Mashaykh have said that there are three things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has hidden, and He has not brought it out openly to people always. The first of those three things is that Allah Ta'ala has kept His awliya, His friends, His beloved people hidden from others. Allah Ta'ala has said in the Quran, in the ayat that I recited at the start, that Ala inna awliya Allahi la khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun. That indeed they are the awliya of Allah, they are the friends of Allah Ta'ala, they are the beloved people of Allah Ta'ala. They will not have any fear nor they will have any sadness. And they are those people الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. They are the people of Iman and they are the people of Taqwa. So anybody who has Iman and Taqwa can become the wali of Allah. But who is that wali of Allah from amongst people? Only Allah Ta'ala knows. Allah Ta'ala has kept that hidden. Allah Ta'ala has kept that secret. Honestly, we do not know that who amongst the people is the wali of Allah Ta'ala. It may be a person who is sweeping the streets, who is cleaning the streets. It may be the person who is cleaning the toilet in this building. It may be the person who we think as a very ordinary person, but because of his iman and his taqwa, he has that relationship with Allah Ta'ala that we don't even know. So what does that mean? It means that we have to make sure that we deal with every single individual in a respectful way. First thing first, it is humanity. Second thing, it is Islam. Third thing, that if we do not deal with that person in the best of the ways and he turns out to be the wali of Allah Ta'ala, that is a very, very dangerous state to be in, because there is a hadith of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi is that Allah Ta'ala speaks through the tongue of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So Allah Ta'ala has said in this hadith Qudsi that man aada li waliyan faqad azantuhu bil harbi, that whoever has animosity against any of my wali, Allah Ta'ala says, I declare war with him. There are only two places in the whole Shariat as far as I know, or as far as my teachers have told me, where Allah Ta'ala has declared war. One is when people deal with interest. When they give interest, they take interest, or they are partners in an interest-based contract. In the Quran, Allah Ta'ala says that I declare war with that person. He is at war with Allah and His Messenger. And the second place is this, that Allah Ta'ala says that if anybody has any animosity against any of my awliya, I declare war with him. Why? Because he is my friend. How come you are against this person? How come you are having ill feelings against this person? So if you are not dealing with him in the best of the ways, I am at war with you. Allah Ta'ala says so. And if Allah Ta'ala is at war with anybody, of course there is nothing but destruction, isn't it? So we don't know who is the wali of Allah, honestly. It may be that a person is not walking on the path of deen today, but it may be that tomorrow he is going to be the wali of Allah. We have to be careful about that as well. Some of the ulama have said that Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was to be the wali of Allah even when he took out his sword to kill and came out to kill the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. He was to be the wali of Allah, of course, as we all know. So we should not look down upon anybody, even if there is a person who is not walking on the path of deen today. Tomorrow he may do tawbah, he may return to Allah Ta'ala and become the wali of Allah. So this is a very, very important concept in our deen, that we have to make sure that we respect every single individual. Even if there is a person who is not walking on the path of deen today, if we reject him, how he is going to come on the path of Allah? The only way to invite people towards the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to love people and invite them and make them sit with us and bring them over a meal and tell them about the beauty of this deen with love, rather than rejecting them and hating them. This is Islam. So Allah Ta'ala has kept His awliya hidden. We don't know who is the wali of Allah. Second, Allah Ta'ala has kept His pleasure, His rida in His obedience. We do not know as to what amal, what action is that can bring the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It might be a very, very small action. It might be removing a stone from the street. We think that that is a very insignificant act. What will it bring? But we never know that it might become the cause of the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there might also be that we do a big thing, but if it is not accepted in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will be null and void. So sometimes what we do is we are only focusing on huge things, big things. That, oh, this is a big action, this is a big amal, this is a big good deed, I should focus on this. And we sometimes ignore small little things. We should never do that. Anytime we have an opportunity to do any good action, be it helping somebody to cross the road, be it to help anybody to give water. If it's warm outside and we give somebody a glass of water or a bottle of water, we never know that action of ours can become the cause of the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala can become happy with us. And the third thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has hidden is that His anger, His wrath is hidden in the disobedience of Allah ta'ala. In other words, we do not know which of the bad action of ours can make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala angry and upset at us. There are many things that we do and we also again do not consider that significant enough. Wrong things I'm talking about. There are many wrong things that we do and we think they are small things. What's the big deal about it? But it can bring the wrath of Allah Ta'ala. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes angry again, we don't know what will happen to us. We are here to attract the mercy of Allah. We are here to attract the rida of Allah Ta'ala. We are here in this dunya to attract the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because our worldly life is dependent on the pleasure of Allah. Our life in the grave is dependent on the pleasure of Allah. And the day of judgment is dependent on the pleasure of Allah. And our entrance into Jannat is dependent on the rida and the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do not want to invite any anger and any wrath from Allah Ta'ala. And Allah Ta'ala has hidden it somewhere. There is a hadith in the Sahih, in the Jami of Imam Tirmidhi, rahimahullah. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said that sometimes people utter a word, one word, and they do not even consider it significant enough. A bad word. But because of that one bad word, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes upset at this person until the day of judgment. And sometimes people utter a good word and people do not consider that significant. People think, oh, you know, I've said, for example, I've gone to somebody who is sick and I've just said something to bring hope in that person. That's it, and people do not consider that significant. Sometimes people utter a good word and they do not consider it significant, but because of that one good word, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala writes His pleasure for this person until the day of judgment. Please, we all have to live this life by loving others, caring for others, not looking down upon others, irrespective of who that person is. If that person is the guard of our building, he's a T-boy at our workplace, he's doing a small little job, and we are the CEOs of a company, we have to deal with everybody with respect and care. And two, please do not consider any good action as a small action. Whenever we get an opportunity to do any good action, we have to make sure that we grab that opportunity and do not let go of that opportunity. Because it may be that this good deed will become the cause and the source of my entrance into Jannah, because Allah Ta'ala becomes pleased with me because of that one good action. And the third thing, please do not consider any bad action as a small action. Lowering our gaze and making sure that we control our tongue and making sure that we do not listen to any wrong thing through our ears, and controlling our hands and limbs and private parts. Have to make sure that we have to be very, very careful about before doing anything that is counted as the disobedience of Allah Ta'ala. Because that one bad deed can become the source of the displeasure of Allah Ta'ala, and we all want to be away from that. So may Allah Ta'ala allow us to understand who are we and who is Allah and what is this life all about. We are here in this life to prepare for our death, to prepare for our grave, to prepare for the day of judgment, so that we can all be successful and not lose this test of life. May Allah Ta'ala give us all tawfiq and allow us to act upon what we have spoken about as well. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.